In the world of modern physics, we have long been taught to view the universe through a duality. We are told that everything in the subatomic world is either a particle or a wave. For over a century, this framework has defined our understanding of reality. But there is a question that has always remained unanswered in the shadows. In quantum mechanics, time is treated as an external parameter, like a clock ticking outside a theater while the play goes on. But what if time is not an observer on the outside? What if time is an internal state of the particle itself? My research, the Triality State Framework, was born from this very intuition. This framework proposes that a particle is not just a particle or a wave, it is a superposition of three fundamental states. When we define the state vector, ket psi, we open a doorway to a universe where a particle's existence is governed by its internal temporal density. Einstein showed us that time can dilate. I am proposing that time is an intrinsic physical property of the particle itself. If we embrace this shift, we find answers to the most profound mysteries that have haunted physics, from the nature of dark matter to the singularity of black holes, and even the ultimate limit of the speed of light. Today, we begin a journey to break the old boundaries of physics and discover a new dimension of truth. I am Unseen Axiom, and this is the triality of the universe. In the evolution of physics, we accepted duality as an ultimate truth. Quantum mechanics proved that a particle can be both a particle and a wave simultaneously. But this picture is incomplete. When we observe a particle, we usually measure its position in space. But what is happening inside the particle's own frame of existence? My proposal is that every particle possesses its own clock. I call this internal time. This internal time is not the ticking clock of our external world. It is an intrinsic physical property of the particle itself. Relativity tells us that as velocity increases, time slows down. But this change isn't just an external observation. It is a fundamental shift in the particle's internal structure. From this realization, the triality state is born. Traditional science defines a particle by position plus momentum. But the triality framework defines it as position plus momentum plus internal temporal density. This means that as a particle approaches the speed of light, its particle manifestation contracts, while its temporal state, its internal time, expands. This isn't just a concept. It is the missing link that suggests the universe is not just made of things we see, but is woven by the very flow of time. In the next part, we will dive into the mathematics of this theory. But first, we must understand, we have shifted the lens through which we view reality. The particle is no longer just a point in space, it is a temporal flux in the ocean of time. Any theory is only as strong as the mathematics that supports it. To understand the triality state framework, we must enter a new Hilbert space. In this space, the total state of a particle, which we call ket psi, is composed of three fundamental basis states. There are two vital parts to this equation. First, the states P, W, and Tnt. Ket P represents the physical particle manifestation. Ket W represents its wave nature. And Ket Tnt represents the particle's internal temporal state. But what determines the dominant state of the particle? It is these three coefficients, alpha, beta, and gamma. These are the probability amplitudes of the particle's existence. Alpha tells us the strength of its particle properties, beta defines its wave magnitude, and gamma, my proposed addition, determines the particle's internal temporal presence. Their relationship is bound by a fundamental mathematical condition. This means the total existence of a particle is always unity. But here is the revelation. When a particle approaches the speed of light or enters a high-gravity field, a remarkable shift occurs. Alpha and beta begin to diminish, while gamma begins to dominate. The particle effectively vanishes from our conventional 3D space and transforms into the density of time. But this shift isn't just about appearance, it changes the most fundamental energy of the universe, the Hamiltonian. To measure this internal temporal energy, I propose a new operator, the temporal operator or T-hat. When this operator is applied, we get the eigenvalue tau, which represents the flow density of the particle's internal time. From this, we derive the most critical equation of this theory, the formula for effective mass. This equation states that a particle's mass is not a static value, it is coupled to the rate of change of its internal time. Here, kappa acts as a new cosmological constant, bridging the gap between time and inertia. In essence, wherever the internal time of a particle changes rapidly relative to external time, we experience an intense gravitational pull. Dark matter is nothing more than the result of this temporal gradient. These mathematical steps lead us to a profound truth. Mass is not just derived from matter, it is generated from the very flow of time. Modern astrophysics is currently facing its greatest challenge: dark matter. We observe that stars at the edges of galaxies are moving much faster than expected. The visible mass we see is simply not enough to hold them in place. So, where is this extra gravity coming from? Mainstream science suggests the existence of invisible particles. But the Triality State Framework offers a radically different perspective. In my view, dark matter is not a new type of particle, it is the manifestation of the gamma state, the internal temporal state of existing particles. Let's return to our fundamental mathematical condition. When a particle exists in a high-energy environment or at the galactic outskirts, its spatial manifestations, alpha and beta, begin to diminish toward zero. In this state, the particle is neither detectable as a particle nor measurable as a wave. However, its gamma, its temporal presence, becomes dominant. This means its effective mass remains active, even if the particle itself is invisible to our telescopes. This is the invisible mass that anchors the stars in their orbits. In these regions, physical matter is scarce, but temporal density is high. The same logic applies to black holes. Near the event horizon, the particle state is completely suppressed, leaving only the temporal state active. This eliminates the need for an infinite singularity. The particle simply transitions into a pure flow of internal time. The Triality Framework suggests that our universe is far more temporal than we ever imagined. Dark matter is not something out there, it is the invisible face of the particles we already know, asserting their existence through the sheer flow of time. Friends, the Triality State Framework is not just a theoretical construct. It is a new doorway through which we can solve the deepest mysteries of our universe. Today, we have only laid the foundation and explored its application in understanding dark matter. But this is just the beginning. My full research paper contains much more, details that we will explore in depth in the upcoming videos. In the next parts of this series, we will dive into revolutionary topics such as faster than light, FTL, travel. If we can manipulate a particle's temporal density, can we bypass the cosmic speed limit? Quantum entanglement. Are entangled particles connected across space, or do they simply share the same coordinate in internal time? Cosmic evolution. What was the ratio of the gamma state during the Big Bang? This framework can potentially be tested in future experiments at the Large Hadron Collider, LHC, or through data from next-generation space telescopes. The journey of science never ends, it only seeks new boundaries. What do you think? Can time truly be an internal property of matter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the mathematics and the unseen reality of this framework. I am Unseen Axiom, and the truth remains yet to be fully revealed.